Genesis 4 records the first murder in human history, yet the purpose of this chapter is not merely to teach that a bad brother killed his sibling. Scripture does not preserve this account as a simple moral lesson. Rather, it reveals how humanity stands before God after being driven out of Eden, and how sin grows and takes direction within the human heart. At first, the chapter appears to mark a new beginning. Though expelled from Eden, Adam and Eve still bring forth life. When Eve gives birth to Cain, she declares, "I have gotten a man from the Lord." This confession is more than maternal joy. It is a faint testimony that even after separation, the Lord still grants life. Yet the narrative quickly reveals how that hope becomes distorted within the human heart. Cain and Abel were born of the same parents, yet they did not stand before the Lord with the same posture. Abel brought of the firstborn of his flock and of their fat portions, while Cain brought of the fruit of the ground. The issue was not occupation, nor merely the type of offering, but the condition of the heart before God. Scripture states that the Lord had regard for Abel and his offering, but for Cain and his offering he had no regard. The emphasis is not first on what was offered, but on whom the Lord received. God looks upon the person before he looks upon the gift. When his offering was not regarded, Cain did not draw near to God in humble inquiry. He did not examine his own heart. Instead, he became angry. The scripture says, Cain was very wroth and his countenance fell. Sin begins at this point. Sin does not first manifest in outward action, but in inward posture. Anger, in this sense, is the refusal to lay one's heart open before God. Yet the Lord did not immediately cast Cain away. He questioned him, "Why are you angry? And why has your countenance fallen?" This was not condemnation, but invitation. The Lord was giving Cain space to recognize his condition and return. Then came the solemn warning, sin lies at the door. Its desire is for you, but you must rule over it. Sin was not portrayed as something already forced upon him, but as something crouching, waiting for his consent. The choice remained before him. Nevertheless, Cain did not continue in dialogue with God. He called his brother Abel into the field. Scripture does not record the words he spoke. Though it says Cain talked with Abel, his brother, the silence is striking. It suggests that the decision had already been made in the heart. Sin often completes its work in silence before it appears in action. Cain rose up and killed Abel. Then the Lord asked again, "Where is Abel your brother?" The Lord already knew, yet the question was another opportunity for confession. Cain's reply reveals the hardness of his heart. "I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper?" This was not ignorance, but defiance, a rejection of responsibility, and a further distancing from God. Still, the Lord did not strike him dead. He declared the consequence: the ground would no longer yield its strength to him. The one who brought an offering from the soil would now be estranged from it. Sin often dismantles the very thing in which we placed our trust. Even in judgment, mercy appears. When Cain lamented that his punishment was greater than he could bear, the Lord set a mark upon him, lest anyone should kill him. This mark was not a declaration of innocence, but a testimony that divine justice belongs to God alone. Human vengeance would not have the final word. Cain went out from the presence of the Lord and dwelt in the land of Nod, east of Eden. This was more than geographical movement, it was relational distance. Yet his descendants built cities, developed music, and advanced craftsmanship. Scripture does not deny cultural progress, but it shows its direction apart from God. This trajectory culminates in Lamech's song, where he boasts of killing a man for wounding him. Violence, once born of anger, becomes celebrated in pride. Sin matures from resentment to self-exalting defiance. Yet Genesis 4 does not end in despair. Adam and Eve bear another son and call his name, Seth, saying, "God has appointed for me another seed instead of Abel." Then comes a quiet but powerful declaration. At that time, people began to call upon the name of the Lord. Restoration does not begin with perfection, but with calling upon the name. Genesis 4 shows the spread of sin, yet it also whispers the beginning of grace. The Lord works not only in unfallen innocence, but in broken places where people once again cry out to him. This chapter asks not merely whether we condemn Cain, but whether we recognize our own posture before God. The central issue is not murder alone, but the attitude of the heart. The question that echoes through the text is not only, "Where is your brother?" but also, "Where do you stand before the Lord?" And that question still stands before us today.